So I came out, finally got the seam sealer in from Amazon, and went ahead and put a strip of seam sealer on the wheel wells on both sides. And I'm getting ready to shoot the coating on. So I didn't want to waste a tube of seam sealer. So while there wasn't no way, you can seal one of them tubes up. Once you open it, it would just dry out. So I went ahead and used it on the inside. And went on all the seams in here. Yep, like I said, just didn't want to waste it, so gonna have to have seam sealer on these areas anyways. So I'll just get it done. Alright, I'll be back. Okay. And it looks like that. And the fenders, both sides are coated with the rock guard and wheel wells. Got the seam sealer in and the rock guard on, and that's another step closer to painting the bottom and the engine bay and the radiator support. I'm gonna get all this in paint. Once it's in paint, then I can start putting suspension back on it, set it back down on the ground on jack stands, and start putting some body panels back on, lining stuff up, fixing gaps. Anyways, too hot to be out here. I'm out of here. I gotta stay very long out here. I've just been coming out in little spurts, come out tape, come out, do seam sealer, go back in, come back out, shoot the rock guard on, go back in, and as warm as it is in here, it's gonna be, you're gonna like be baking that stuff on. So, all right, I'm out. Okay, so this is where I'm at with it. Just cleaning up my area here before I order some paint to spray on the bottom of this. I'm going to use some Scotch-Brite, scuff up the whole bottom of the car. I'm just cleaning up because I don't want it to be filthy in here when I'm trying to spray a little bit of paint on the bottom of this car. It'll probably be a few days anyways before I can do that, because the temperature out here ain't going to cooperate with me. But I want to put a fan in that window over there, and then I'm going to crack the door open a little bit and put a fan down here at the bottom, kind of block off the bottom of it, so I'll have some kind of airflow going through there. And then I'm wanting to put kind of a screen over this, so I'll definitely have airflow coming through when I shoot the paint on. That way it don't turn out horrible. But another note was I was able to sell my old engine. The old engine that was in this car. I stripped all my brackets and HP manifolds. Basically it was just a block from the oil pan up. Took all my pulleys, I did have an extra pulley that I was able to throw back on the engine for the guy. So anyways, sold that other engine, and so that cleared up me some space. As you can see, them go back in there. I do need to clean up my tool room a little bit. There's some tools over there on the ground that I'm throwing away because they're like cheap Chinese things that I don't even need. So that's a matter of maybe half hour to an hour or so in there cleaning up, putting up parts and stuff like that. But it gained me all this, dude. And if you've ever been in my garage, you know every little bit of room is like, what do you call that? Well, it's like an amphitheater in here now. It's huge. Not really, but it helps. So as you see, I got plenty of room to walk down through here now, and then this is all wide open going to the tool room. I will be putting up tools that are over here. The oil is going to be leaving. It's going in the car, but a lot of these tools are going to disappear too. But anyways, just wanted to show you all where I was at today. 93 degrees in there, heat index triple digits. So I come out here long enough to load up that engine for him, and I am going back in. Alright. So again, not much to show. Just waiting on stuff now. Gotta wait on paint for this. Gotta wait on the temperatures to be nicer, which is supposed to be next week in the 80s or so. So that'd be some decent painting temperatures. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'm just pecking away at getting all the components painted. Torsion bar, cross member, vibration dampener for the floor, transmission cross member, and I decided, well, looky there, I'll just bring my table back in, the one I used for my engine, and put all the parts on while I was building it, and I'll use it for my parts. And that gives me 2 tiers here, so I got area up here on top to put things, and I could still roll my parts basket under there, and then all my new parts that I've been buying for it all get to be over here in this little area out of the way. Drive shaft is painted and up and over out of the way. So alright, just showing you I'm still doing stuff even though I can't do a whole bunch. They did finally ship my bushings today for that, for my control arms, should I say. You know, the bushings that go in here. So when they arrive this week sometime, I'll be able to go ahead. Oh, and I went ahead and ordered new rotors, because what I found out today, to have these turn is like 30 bucks a piece, and then new bearings for them was another 30 bucks, so that's like 90 bucks I would have in having these turned. But then the hubs would still need sandblasted, and I don't know how great them things are because I had to knock a bunch of rust out of the holes in them. So instead of doing that, I just went ahead and you can order a brand new set of drilled, slotted rotors with bearings and seals for less than 200 bucks. So that's what I done. So I got the new drilled, slotted rotors on their way. The upper and lower control arm bushings are on their way. So what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to put all this together as a complete unit, and then when I'm done, the unit can be rolled over here back where it was underneath of the duster, out of the way. So anyways, that'll gain me a little bit more room for stuff that I'm going to be having going on in here. Alright, still hotter than heck over here in Kansas. Nighttime, 93 degrees in here. Another 104 heat index today. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Just making things look pretty. So when I get to start putting it back together, I won't be rushing to do all this stuff because it'll be done and ready. Alright. Another quick video. Still waiting for parts. Waiting for scuff pads to scuff this up. But I did go to the paint shop this morning. Got a gallon of the base. A gallon of clear. So it's fixing to go down over here. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't paint in here today. And it, like I said, it's supposed to cool down next week. Alright, so waiting on the scuff pads to come in. I got a couple here that I'm going to try to use a little bit because they're kind of wore out. But just got some more goodies in. Drilled slotted rotors. I went ahead and ordered new dust covers because they was cheap enough, and then were kind of beat up, but I straightened them as much as I could in there, hammering on them, and I just think a new set would be better because it's cheap. I did work on getting this area cleaned up and all the tools and stuff picked up, and all my paint stuff's right here. I'll probably end up cleaning off the shelf in this because I have most of my chemicals and stuff in here. So I'm going to probably clean off the shelf as much as I can and put as much on the the top shelf, and then I'll be able to put that stuff in there too. But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And then I was pulling this up here, and I got to looking at my duster, and it hasn't been out all year, and now that I'm seeing it again and I'm close to it, I'm getting the urge to want to get it fired up, get it out of the garage and take it for a spin, go up around the park or something eventually here, or maybe this weekend or something. But that's my duster, and it needs a bath, cleaned up. I don't never take it to the car wash, I always hand wash it, but I need to get it out here in the alleyway and get it cleaned up, washed up, and then I can bring it back in and put it back where it was. But it's just something that probably needs to be done, as like I said, I haven't ran it or done anything with it since November. So coming up on a year, and I probably should get it out and drive it, because the last thing that I had go wrong coming from a car show was I chewed up fourth gear in my transmission, and I rebuilt the transmission and took it out for a little spin and then brought it back to the garage. So I definitely should be getting it out and getting it cleaned up. It's just when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I want to drive it now. But anyways, so waiting on the scuff pads. I'm going to scuff up what I can with what I got, because it's been way more than 72 hours since I shot that on there, so I'll have to break the skin off of it so it'll have something to bite on. My plan is to break it all open with the scuff pad, which is basically 400 grit, and once it's all busted open, I'm going to take my epoxy, mix me up a batch, and then thin it out as a sealer, and then seal the whole bottom. Same thing here. It's been engine bay has been more than 72 hours, so same thing with that. I'll just have to scuff it all again, and then what I'm hoping is it's going to be in the 70s Sunday. Is I'll dedicate that whole day to coming out here and shooting a seal coat on it, letting that flash off, putting a base coat on, let that flash, put another base coat on, let that flash, and then do a clear coat on this bottom and engine bay. Get all this in paint finally. Okay, so I probably won't make a video this Friday. Yeah, so I probably won't make a video this Friday the 22nd. I'll probably make one next week. But anyways, it's Wednesday over here now, so I'm hoping to have this in paint Sunday. And once I get all that in paint, hopefully my bushings come in this week. I can put that thing together and get it out of the way. I want to hopefully get this out Sunday, so it won't be in here when I'm shooting the paint, and I'll be able to pull this over here closer to the center to give me more room to be able to flip it and flop it and get in the tight spots, because there's going to be some spots that are going to be harder to get into with it up in the air. But I don't want to flip too much, maybe just a little bit this way, you know, not a whole bunch, because I still have some sand coming out here and there, and I don't want to get all that sand in the paint and the clear and then have to go back and touch shit up. Oh, there it went cussed again. Alright, that's where I'm at with it. Moving on. So that's where I'm at with it. Decided I'd come out and hang out in this heat for a while. 89 degrees. It feels a little warmer than that, but that's probably because I've been doing some sanding, scuffing all this up on the bottom here, like I was telling you. So pretty much got from here all the way to here, so about halfway. And what I'm doing is some dry sand with some 320, and then I'm going back over it with the brown scuff pad, which is 400, and that's kind of smoothing it out, but it's most importantly breaking open the skin, if that's what you want to call it, the shell of the epoxy, so that the paint and stuff will stick to it. So that's where I'm at with it. Today's Wednesday, and I've been out here for about, I don't know, hour maybe, and I got that much of it scuffed in an hour, so I should be able to get, you can see where I stopped right here, so I should be able to get this forward in about another hour or so, if that, because it's probably less up in here. But anyways, just wanted to show you what I was doing. 320, breaking it open and going back over with 400, or the brown Scotch-Brite pad, and then I should be ready for my process for Sunday to thin down the epoxy, use it as a sealer, and then once it pops off and does what it needs to do, then I'm going to put the base coat on, and I'll put a couple layers of the base coat, I'm sure. And then once the base coat's on and it gases out, then I'll go ahead and shoot some clear on it all. This is exciting. Getting there. Once I get all this bottom done, like I've said about 500 times now in my videos, because I don't know, I guess you could say I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so if it don't look good, it don't look good. That's easy as that. And I want the car to look good on the bottom and the top for car show reasons. And you know, I probably won't never sell the car. It'll probably be something that's done after I'm gone. But alright, that's where I'm at with it. Scuff, scuff, scuff. Scratch, 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 scuff, scuff, scuff. Have fun at it. Later. Okay. I would say, and just like that, but it really wasn't just like that. So I had, I don't know, about an hour on that back half, and I've been, maybe 2.5, 3 hours on this front part, getting it scuffed up and ready. That's one thing about hand sanding and scuffing, is you see imperfections. So when you start running into imperfections, then you have to do a little extra work on them areas. So like here, it had some grease and dirt that the sandblaster missed. Same thing, there was a couple other spots like that, like here, up in that little corner, that the sandblaster had missed, which ain't nothing really, but it's enough for me to, when you're hand sanding, see it. So anyways, it's all scuffed up. I've been blowing the heck out of it, getting dirt and stuff out of it, so I think I'm about done with the dirt. I did break through on a couple places because it had heavy orange peel in a couple spots where I just got a little crazy with the gun and got too close. So on them spots I 220'd, then 320, and then the 400. So therefore there's a couple of spots that I went through, which ain't no big deal because I'm going to put a seal coat on it. And alright, so that's where I'm at with that. I'm pretty much ready, but I'm not going to do anything until this weekend. It's supposed to be cooling down this weekend. Be almost the perfect temperature in here to get something done. when it comes to spraying paint or anything like that, so it lays down flat and doesn't go on dry and doesn't dry too quick. This was kind of ugly here where I had welded this back together, and there was a little bit of a weld there, so I went ahead and straightened that up because you could see it pretty good. All this got either 220 in some spots, and then the 320, 220 on some of the rough spots, and then 320 on the majority of it, and then back over with the scuff pad, which brings it to 400. So anyways, that's where I'm at. It's done, that scuffing part, so I can leave it alone now. It's almost 90 in here now. It's all broke open. Yeah, like I was saying, I had to feather this out a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I had to feather that out a little bit because it was showing through the primer. There was a little section here that had Bondo, so it had like a edge, so I took that edge off. This here was showing some 80 grit sand scratches, so had to sand that. 220, 320, 400. But yep, that's where it's at, guys. It's all scuffed up, ready to put the sealed coat on, and then base coat, clear coat, and I'll have some color on this car, be able to flip it over and put the suspension under it. Yay. Alright, so while waiting on a little bit cooler weather, supposed to be here tomorrow, the 70s tomorrow, I'm taking this little opportunity to clean some stuff up in the sandblaster, the pulley, saving some money on some shackles and some other mounts. I figure if I got them and I can clean them up, save some money, don't have to go and buy them. Looking around in my junk, I did find that I have 2 U-bolts here, so I only need to get 2 more for the other side. But yep, that's where I'm at, just cleaning parts up. I actually had one stud that was broken off on one of these, and I had another set in there, so I was able to knock the stud out of one of the old ones. You can see dirty one right there that didn't get blasted. But yeah, I was able to pull a stud out of one of the other ones, save some more money. Gotta get them in paint. But alright, I'm working on the flat and the U-shaped brackets that go to the rear end now. The flat ones that go to the shocks, where the shocks mount, and then the U-shaped ones, they go to the rear end. So I'm working on now, getting them cleaned up, get them in paint. Every step forward is another step forward, in my opinion. And if I can have all this stuff, I've said before, cleaned up and ready to just bolt on when I get the body and paint done, then that's just going to be that much faster than I can get it thrown together. Alright, I'll get with you tomorrow sometime. Okay, got my seal coat on, so it's all sealed up. come back out in the morning and do a base coat, clear coat. Alright, get back with you. Oh yeah, covered stuff up out here. Keep the overspray from getting it. So it got pretty nice, pretty smooth. Okay. Alright, so came out this morning and got started on this. My little cheap Amazon gun, but it has like 4 different tips to go with it, and I had a 1.4 to shoot everything, the base and the clear. That's my primer gun there. It's a Harbor Freight Central Pneumatic, but it sprays out pretty flat. But anyways, the epoxy primer thinned down. It was probably, I don't know, about a quart or so. A half gallon of color and a half gallon of clear is what I ended up using. I'm gonna have to give Wanda a shout out, because that stuff, I mean, it's paint for dummies, because I ain't no painter and I ain't in no booth or anything, but it turned out pretty damn nice in my opinion. So this is what I got, and this is the color that the car will be. But that was my goal, was to get the bottom of the car in paint so that I can get the suspension back on, flip it over, and start doing sheet metal work on the fenders, and then get the fenders on. I'll probably be using a ton of tape for these areas here whenever I go to put the fenders on, so I don't scratch nothing up after I've got this all done. But like I said, it lays down nice and flat. Hardly any orange peel. There's orange peel, but I mean, it's just minimum. Like I said, for a dummy, I think it turned out pretty good, considering, gotta remember, engine bay, bottom of the car, doesn't have to be perfect, but I did want it nice. And then the rest of the car, I'm shooting for like a show quality finish. So anyways, I guess I'm kind of lucky. I lucked out that I have a friend that's in the automotive paint business. The guy that painted this car for me, he painted my Roadrunner, he did the bumpers on my Challenger, he did the hood on my Challenger, he did work on my wife's silver car, he did work on my wife's Charger. But anyways, so he recommended the paint and he recommended the place to buy it, and I did get a pretty damn good deal on everything that I needed for the gallon of paint and then the gallon of clear with the activator. I just used that Duplicolor specialty reducer because I didn't know what temperature it was going to be in here, and you can't never plan on it to be what you want it to be, because I come out this morning, I was expecting it to be in the 70s, and it started in the low 70s and we're already at 80 degrees. So having that specialty reducer, I think, helps out. But alright, I'm happy with it. I'm moving on from this section. see you on the flip side. Figured I'd make a quick video of this here. I didn't know if I got it good enough in the first video, but there she goes. Shiny.